Good morning and welcome to the program Perspectives. This morning on the program Perspectives, we're still staying with Democracy Day and questions on our minds would be that is Nigeria's democracy under threat? For very obvious reasons, we're asking these questions. Insecurity, as we see it happening now, killings all over the place, and of course, concerns that we just might not be having a bumper harvest this year because again the fields are not secured today, and of course agitations and threats pullouts as we're seeing in different parts of the country, and how these would secure democracy for us. But the big question would be, is Nigeria's democracy under threat? My guest this morning on the program is Professor Femi Otunbanjo. Professor Femi Otunbanjo is Professor of Political Science, and I'm doing a long-distance call to Lagos now, where he is, and so we talk about our democracy day. Professor Femi Otunbanjo, good morning, sir. I'm glad to have you on our program.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Yes, the question, like I asked, would just be that is Nigeria's democracy under threat with the things around us now, insecurity, agitations, pullouts, and of course, people saying that this unity could just, may not just work out as we've assumed it, to be.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure which one is under a greater threat, whether the unity of the country and its ability to survive as one country, or democracy. Democracy in Nigeria has never been very strong. We've had democracy more in terms of the format rather than the substance. If you look at the elements of democracy, elections, legislative participation, political leadership, political parties, none of them is strong. So we are just patching together weak elements of democracy, and we are surviving. But right now, democracy, the threat to democracy is not our main problem because it's not direct yet. Democracy has managed to survive in spite of all its weaknesses in Nigeria for the last 22 years. What is threatening us, which may overthrow everything, including our democratic system, is the insecurity in the country, which is not being, from what we see, is not being properly addressed. There are too many people who have been allowed to carry AK-47. Every day we hear of killings. We live in a country in which it is possible for some people to go into a community and kill people in dozens. And that will be the end of it. They kill and go, and they move to another place. All over the country, people are killing, and there's nothing happening. That is a key indicator of a failed or a failing state. If the security people cannot deal with insecurity, if the leadership cannot deal with insecurity, if the leadership is perceived to be aiding insecurity, then we're not living in a country. The purpose of human society is to guarantee security and welfare. That's why human beings went into society, or else you all individually on trees and in the jungle. But we know that is not good enough for us. So we come together and band together to be able to strengthen our capacity to resist all the elements that can destroy us. That's why we elect leaders to look after our affairs, because nobody can do it individually. The more societies have grown, the more the need for leadership, strong leadership, and strong institutions. So we have a combination of poor leadership and weak institutions in Nigeria today. And that's why we have this problem. So the problems can be addressed. First, it's our institutions have to do their job. Our leaders have to do their job. The police, the judiciary, and the electoral commission, they have not been doing a good job. and we are having the cumulative effect of poor management of our affairs. So if you allow insecurity, if you allow people to be killed all over Nigeria, we are threatening Nigeria. It is not, you cannot allow any group to do that, particularly if that group has a label. The danger we find is that right now, the Fulani people have been identified. They call them Fulani herdsmen, Fulani bandits, Fulani this, identified as constituting a threat to many communities. That threat is not limited to one side. Bandits are dealing with people in Zamfara. They are dealing with people in Niger State. It is not an ethnic thing. But the danger is that it will be perceived as being ethnic. They are dealing with people in Benue. The Benue people see it as ethnic. They are dealing with people in Southeast. They see it as ethnic. They are dealing with people who see it as ethnic. Whereas the same bandits are dealing with people across the country. They are taking advantage of either a weak or an irresponsive state. The state is not responding. I mean, if we were to have a situation in which bandits attack, or whoever group, whatever name you give them, attack a community today and tomorrow or 1 week after, we are to hear that they have been routed, they have been surrounded, they have been arrested. Then the people who have the consequences.
So, Prof, the response that we're getting from leadership, how does it drop with you? The response from leadership. I'm looking at the situation.
The response from leadership is unfortunate. That's the least you can say about it. It is pathetic. It is not. It is inefficient. It's incompetent in every respect. Don't let us deceive ourselves. You cannot have a leadership in a country and bandits will be roaming around. And we have a police force of several thousands of men. We have an army. We have the Air Force. We have the Navy. We have men in uniform in this country in their millions. If we put together all the services, they are in their millions. Are the bandits in their millions? Do they have the weapons that our military has? Do they have the training? Do they have the equipment? So why is it that we are not able to confront them? Because of leadership. What is happening? This country is bigger than what is happening now. This country is supposed to be stronger than what is happening. Some of us who teach military officers in our institutions know that we have a very good and well-prepared military. Very well-educated officers who can handle any situation. But where are they? Why is the army? Why is all the forces not appearing that Nigeria lacks the military power to contend with bandits? We do not. But there is something somewhere which has to do with the leadership and the will of the leadership to confront this problem. And that's what made them destroy. Because look at what is happening today in Delta. The Delta are saying the Fulani are threatening them, and that MED, which is a Southeast activist organization, say for every Delta person that is killed, they will kill 10 Fulani people. Is that the kind of discussion narrative that we should hear in a country like Nigeria? Are we supposed to be listening to that? But what if in the event that threat comes true? How is it going to be interpreted in the North? Because what you are saying is that Fulani herdsmen are threatening people. But at the end of the day, it is going to be North versus South, North versus Igbo. It's not going to be seen as exclusively Fulani. And then you find a situation in which 10 people are killed in the East, 10,000 are killed in the North. That's how you plunge the country into crisis, into chaos. If you don't manage it well, those who are supporting these bandits are not doing a favor to the bandits, because in the end, the bandits are going to bring down this country, because they are going to incinerate, put fire into tension that we might not be able to put out. And so when we are celebrating democracy, for Nigeria in the last 1 year, democracy has not been as important as survival. Democracy is important that we have our leaders that were elected. But were they really elected? You know, the process of election in Nigeria is just filled with manipulation and fraud. That most of the people who are sitting in the National Assembly either bought their way through, rigged, manipulated. So if you have the foundation that is weak, what building can you put on it but the building of corruption? And that corruption has percolated to all our institutions, our security institutions, our judiciary, our police. So we are sitting on a floating foundation of democracy, which cannot survive a storm. So we do not need chaos and anarchy, because the moment it comes, democracy will disappear.
Well, we still are not, over with the hangover of what a military general and, security advisor to the president has said to Nigerians about coming out to defend themselves. And, people ask the questions then that, what are we hearing? Has the presidency, or so to say, or leadership, has it abandoned its role to the people that first and foremost defend, security of lives and property and all of that? But when you hear a security advisor, a military general saying that to Nigerians, where are we getting to that? What are we about to do to ourselves that we almost just go back to our tents and find a way to begin to defend ourselves?
Please, let me be fair to the National Security Advisor is saying the correct thing. It's not saying that Nigerian government has abandoned security. Every society, since if you look at your own environment where you come from, every society defends itself. Every village, every town has defense mechanisms. And that was one of the pleasant things about the president's interview with Arise. That why have you abandoned all the traditional security systems that you have? Why do you have an Oba in a town or an emir who is not monitoring his town? Is it not that towns used to have hunters and vigilantes and so on? Why do you keep shouting that bandits have come and gone? The bandits are not military men that they can attack at will. You can fight back. We have able-bodied men who are bearing their chest everywhere on demonstrations. What are they doing when their communities are attacked? We have the primary responsibility to defend ourselves. No government can defend every village in Nigeria or every town. The primary thing is for the police, the security people to be alert to take over to where, when the thing becomes more serious, than can be contained by local security system. But the reality is that we must be prepared to defend ourselves. Bandits have no special rights to carry guns because their guns are illegal. And we are sitting ducks to illegal gun carriers. So we must do something first. I'm not saying that government ultimately is the one that should defend us. Government should be the one to do the detective work of identifying where the bandits come from, where they go back to, who is funding them, who is giving them guns and so on, and to destroy the framework, their backbone. But just coming to our village to attack us must be a primary responsibility to make sure that it is expected for them to come. Because if they come and go and did not suffer any loss, they will come again. So, to that point, the National Defense and Security Advisor's point is not, it does not suggest that government has abandoned its responsibility. What government is saying, what the man is saying is that you need to be more responsive to the defense of your environment. You need to find out, you yourself can find out where they are coming from or when they are likely to come. And then at least have some vigilante group to be able to allow people, you wanted to get your people to get out of the way, not to fight back. But there's nothing wrong with fighting back. And fighting back means that those people coming will know that when they are going to any community, they are going to fight. They are not just going to walk over. and that will also affect their own decision making to decide whether they want to come and take the loss or not. So the truth of the matter is that government right now is not doing a good job.
Has the presidency, or has leadership further alienated itself from the people with the president's comment on open grazing, that we must find land, for grazing for these people? Now that is coming out of a heated argument and resistance from the people. Is this a further alienation of leadership that we're seeing here to the people?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the president has been well or comprehensively advised on this open grazing matter. The open grazing land, control of land belongs to governors, not to the president. So they decide how it's used. So open grazing route, and I've read some statement that it doesn't even apply to many states in the south. There are countries, there are states, many states that have such gazettes about grazing route. But the truth of the matter is that we ought not to be talking about grazing routes in 2021. That's the fundamental error that the president is propagating. The president should be concerned about, getting land for ranches. And land for ranches means that you are dealing with a business. The president cannot be supporting a situation in which the state is going to support one business and not support the other. The selling cows, rearing cows, moving cows, and that, these are businesses. If you are going to sell your cow, and I know that cows sell for 200,000, 300,000 per one nowadays in the market. Those people who own the cows should pay. They don't have to depend on destroying other people's economic livelihoods in order to be able to maintain their own. So what is this point about grazing routes? There's no reason for that. Cows are not supposed to be moving around in the world. Are there grazing routes in America? Are there grazing routes in London, in Britain, in Europe? Why do you have to go back to the primitive way of rearing cows? We have to move beyond that, because you know that whatever grazing routes you have, there will always be a clash between those farmers and herders. Because the cows, the herders are not trained to keep grazing routes. You train them to move in one direction. Their cows will veer up and eat up their crops. There will be tension, there will be conflict, there will be violence. Let's forget about grazing routes for goodness sake and move towards modern forms of cattle rearing and moving cows. There are trains that are specially designed for moving cows in Europe. There are lorries that do it. We should always look for best practices, global best practices. That's what we talk about. Nigeria is a modern country. It's not an archaic and communistic country. We are moving forward. We have our president rides the best car. We have the best cars, lives in the best environment. The technology of the people is the most modern. So why are we marketing primitive technology to our people? We have to be consistent. So things are trade that the president will back off from this gazette that is pursuing. It's not going to lead anywhere. It's not going to be able to. Yes?
Let me bring the National Assembly into all of this. People say that this assembly, as it is just a group of yes men who are not focused even on what is happening around us. Why has this assembly not pulled down or hit hard on executive on some of the happenings that we're seeing around us that made this member this country?
Yes, you see, that's what I've said about our political system. Okay, that is a major weakness of a democracy for now. First, you have weak political parties. We don't have parties. We have associations of men who are lost unto themselves. We have powerful individuals who are running the situation. They are individual pockets here. They are like warlords, political warlords, who can manipulate the party. Particularly, you have the governors who also double as leaders of parties in their states, because the party is to run parties. If you want to hold a rally and it's going to cost about 10 million to mobilize people to rent the venue, bring the technology of public address and all that things, you need the governor to do it. Not to talk of when it comes to election, when you will be talking of billions, it is the governor that can mobilize it. So the governor, by virtue of economic necessity, becomes the leader of the party, becomes so powerful that he can dictate to everybody. So we have weak political parties. Powerful individuals who should be developing parties are undermining it. Because what they have is a feudalistic, aristocratic mentality to control things. So beyond that, you have because of the political manipulation of getting who becomes speaker, who becomes senator, who becomes House of Representatives speaker, you have seen that what you then put yes men in those positions. That's what we have. Men who are manipulated, I know, as agreed by the executive. The executive that is supervising and monitoring is the one that upon those who will be there. So what do you expect them to do? All they need to do is to be reminded how you got there. All they need to do is to mobilize members to get rid of them if they are not playing ball. So you are correct. Our National Assembly today is not living up to expectation because the leadership has been compromised. They did not appoint their own speaker. The speaker was appointed for them. They did not appoint their own president of state, deputy president. What all those offices were the product of manipulation of the executive and the so-called political leaders who are the loss of the party. We all know how they got there. So we must not pretend. I'm not doing political propaganda. I'm doing intellectual analysis. We know how they got there. If you are going to do analysis of democracy in Nigeria, you must look at it objectively. How did Majabi Amina become speaker? How did Nawal become president? What are they expected to bring to the table, except to tune to pander to the executive? And that's what they're doing. And so, when they now see that this insecurity is getting close to home, they are shouting in their chambers. When you have shouted, what have you done? Have we been able to get the president to listen to you, to change course on this matter? So we have a problem. We have with institutions. The police is frustrated because it has to mistake instructions to do anything. The judiciary is corrupt. Everybody knows that. They have been compromised. That's the part. It's a whole process. You know, the they had this joke about Alpha getting burnt in a fire. You know, and so somebody tells you an Alpha got burnt in a fire, and then you ask, but what of the beard? Did the beard get burnt? No, you are looking at competent. So you take it one by one. Is it the presidency? Is it the governors? Is it the National Assembly? The houses of assembly are even worse. They are just there and picking up allowances from the governor, allowing the governors to buy cars for them. The judiciary, cars are bought for the judiciary. Governors make a fanfare of bringing cars into the open and handing over to the chief judge of the state. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's where we are. Primitive level of democracy that is yielding havoc and not getting the right result for people.
Okay, Prof, just time for us to go on a commercial break and to be back with you shortly. The program is Perspectives this morning, and we're looking at our democracy and asking if our democracy is on the thread, or if we're not talking about our democracy, then let's talk about the unity of Nigeria on the thread. I'm Professor Femi Otunbanjo, a professor of political science, sharing thoughts with us this morning. It's a long-distance call to Lagos, and we'll be back with you after this break.
Perceptions could change. Opinions can be formed with more and accurate information. Get all sides, views, and opinions on topical issues. Have your say on Perspectives. With Twin Alabi at 9 a.m. Mondays to Fridays on Invicta 98.9 FM. Perspectives. All sides, all views, all individuals are welcome.
Welcome back. It's the program Perspectives this morning, and we are still looking at Democracy Day and what is showing out in the Nigerian nation and concerns, coming up on how we going with the ship of the nation. And for some people, we nose driving, and this may make others want to jump out of the ship or the plane, so to say. Professor Femi Otunbanjo is my guest this morning. He's a professor of political science. Prof. Hello, sir. Okay, we're trying to get back Professor Femi Otunbanjo on the line, and it's on state of the nation as it is, democracy being threatened, and what can be done. And for some people, it must be seriously addressed. If you were close by your TV yesterday, you would have heard Professor Wale Soyinka too on Arise Television, and his concerns about the Nigerian nation. And what he had come up with is that if something is not done, action not taken, he may just lose it. Prof, glad to have you back, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Again, Nigerians really concerned about the ship of the nation and how it is moving. I was close to television yesterday on Arise Television here too, and getting to hear Professor Wale Soyinka too on the ship of the nation. Very concerned too. And, as we're getting concerns from all over the country, from north, east, south, west, about action that must be taken to save or to keep Nigeria. Now, again, let me go with this balance. It's a slogan that the Americans have, that the box stops on the president's table. Now, for all that is happening, disenchantment and suspicion and about how the country has been run, again, would you put it on the president's table, or it's more than coming from the president's table here now?
Yes, of course, the president, that's why we elected him as our president, to protect us, to run the country in such a way that we can all live our lives the way we want to live it. And the president has not given us that assurance, that reassurance that is concerned. Of course, the president's men continue to list out infrastructural programs that the president has done in the last 6 years. But the insecurity problem has overtaken all that. Because right now, even if we have the best roads in the country, kidnappers are making sure that people don't travel on the roads. A lot of people have abandoned the roads because they are not feeling safe from kidnappers. So you must first, there are certain things that are, you might call prerequisites. So when you in a university, you have prerequisites, you have courses that you have to do before you can do another one. And the security is one of them. One of the fundamental elements of social existence is security. The fact that you can live in an environment and feel safe. That's why people run away from one city to the other, run away from one country to the other. The last 2 or 3 years, we had this massive migration from Syria to Europe, which became an international crisis because people were feeling unsafe in Syria. So, if you are not safe in your country, what do? The president in a democratic country must be responsive to what is happening around him. I mean, to say that you are dealing with bandits and that you are not publicizing it, it's unacceptable. In fact, it is important that in dealing with crime, that you advertise to the rest of the country that you are up to the task. That's the whole purpose. If you are dealing with crime, and all we hear is that those criminals have stopped somewhere today, tomorrow, and yet you say you are dealing with them. They have been killed, they have been arrested. Those must be publicized for reassurance. Your population must constantly have the feeling that government is acting on their behalf. You cannot do it and put it under the table. I don't understand what is the benefit of that. The benefit of advertising it is to give people assurance that you can travel, you can sleep well, you can do your business, because those criminals will be caught, they will be dealt with, they will be killed. And we are not getting that. We have to get that assurance from the president. The interviews that he had in the last few days have made a lot of difference to show that we have a president who can talk about, who knows about our problems. The initial thing that doesn't even know what we are going through. But I think we have an idea that a little bit reassuring, reduces the tension. What we now want to know is, what are you doing about it on a daily basis? There's no doubt that the buck stops with the president. Nobody should make excuses for him. He has everything within his to put things right. It's the commander-in-chief, after all. Commander-in-chief is that you can get soldiers, police, everybody to move to what area that you want them to move. You can get them to act in the way you want them to act. So if all our resources for this year will be devoted to dealing with bandits and insurgents, so be it. Nigerians will not complain that they have the safety to live their lives. Most people are not asking the president to come and give them money. The market woman is doing his business and trying to make a profit to feed his family. People are to the farms. The bricklayer, the carpenter, the organizer, they want to work in the peace. They don't want to wake up and start carrying their wares and running after because some bandits are in the neighborhood. So deal with bandits, President sir. Deal with bandits. Deal with bandits. Insurgency, we know the nature of insurgency. Nobody should be frivolous about it. What we are doing, fighting in Boko Haram, is no longer a local insurgency, it's an international network of insurgents. So it will take some sophistication, some time, so for it to end. And we might not even be able to end it alone if we do not have the support of the countries around us, the support of international partners. But as for bandits, that is within our power to deal with. And we should deal with it. So that when we create the environment of stability and peace, other things will follow. Other agitations will deal with in the proper manner, by consultation, negotiation, discussion, whatever. But right now, it's like being surrounded of challenges. We are being surrounded by insecurity. We are being surrounded by capacity. We are being surrounded by hijackers, by robbers, by ritual killers. And that is not the kind of image you want, the kind of thing you want to hear and feel productive and feel secure to do your work. So the president has to create that environment for us by being decisive and letting us know what he's doing. It's not propaganda, abusing people who talk. That one will not work. The president's image will be based on his policies and the results of his policies. It is not propaganda.
Again, yes. Is this not bringing out, the call for, decentralizing, of government or restructuring, as some people have, called for?
Yes, I have a feeling that there's a great deal of misunderstanding about restructuring. But the essential, and I think that I also heard the president say that he's a supporter of devolution of powers. So when you talk about devolution of powers, it means that you are essentially taking a lot of things from the federal government and moving to the states. I'm not sure that restructuring necessarily means a geographical redrawing of the maps. I think that's more difficult to achieve. Don't let us deceive ourselves. What is more is that devolution within the limits of our present constitution, we can devolve, and then devolution could even involve devolution of police powers to the states, devolution of ownership of mineral resources. And lots of things to be devolved. You need the state to be stronger, but the states themselves need to be ready for devolution. The president made one important point in that we give local governments 300 million. The governors give them 100 million and ask them to sign for it, and they take 200 million. That the president of Nigeria knows that is going on. What is being done about it? That our governors, that way, effectively the president is saying our governors are stealing local government money. So what is to be done? What kind of country is that? Where the president knows that governors are stealing our local government money and nothing is being done about it. So we have a serious problem in Nigeria that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so we'll just find time. Yes. We'll just find time now to just come to the audience too, get them into this conversation too. And numbers to call to be, with us this morning, 081 40 989, 081 40 989, or 070 87 800 989, 070 87 800 989. Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Arokoyo on the line.
Arokoyo, all right, let's get to hear you.
Kudos to your guest. Even though the network wasn't too clear.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, want to talk about the state of the nation. Once again, I think we are disadvantaged to have the set of leaders that we have presently because of they are not performing and they are not ready to allow those who we probably will want to perform to try their luck. At Lebanon, was it last year? Just because of a bomb blast, the president resigned his position and felt killed. But in Nigeria here, they have been killing. Yet, the leaders did not deem it fit to see it as a sign of failure in order to resign so that people can see that good, another person can take over. So the way forward is one, let the leaders resign, because it is a clear picture that they have failed and they are plugging Nigeria into war, because already we are at war. Salvation is in the land. Salvation is in the land. War is not the shooting of guns. It is deprivation of medical care, deprivation of food. People are finding it hard to feed.
Okay, Arokoyo, I'm working with time now. So, yeah, I got you on that. Let me just take you straight to Professor Femi Otunbajo. Professor, if you had Arokoyo,
I didn't hear well.
Yes,
I was just speaking with
that leadership has failed. And so the honorable thing to do is to resign, and he took his example from Lebanon, a bomb blast that saw, top class leadership in Lebanon resigning, and so, it should apply to Nigeria. And that in Nigeria, it's not the physical war that we're seeing. There's war in hunger in the land, health not there, things just not working. And so leadership should just honorable do the needful. So,
well, so easier said than done, actually. You have to leaders. The culture of an improvement. Then there's the political culture. Our culture is that of chieftaincy. When you are a chief, you are a chief forever. So the idea that we resign from position is not a developed one in our culture. So also there's the political culture of the country. How do people get power? How do they lose power? What is the political behavior? And so what you find is that you are not likely to get that. So it's wishful thinking that we'll now begin to have leaders who will leave office because of failed policies. Leaders will continue doing what you call secondary elaboration, find excuses for whatever they are doing. It's their opponent, it's the ethnic the ethnicity of their critic or their opposition in the opposition party. So we have a lot of excuses for our leaders not to resign. They do not have that cultural background to think that resignation is the thing. There's also their willingness to interpret that there's no failure. You know, I mean, somebody says that you have not done well. It's your word against his own. He says they have done well. I have killed bandits in Zamfara. I have killed terrorists in Bono. I have done this. You know what we are doing. So where is the failure? So if the man in his own mind thinks that he's doing well, we are not going to resign. So that the resignation is not the issue. What Nigerians should be calling for is better governance.
Okay.
You know, if you live in an environment that people don't resign, all you can do is appeal to them to do their job. That's what we need. We need movements to get them to respond to us, not to be calling for them because they will not resign.
Okay.
So
okay, Prof. Another caller there on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Alavi.
Yes.
I'm Job International.
Job International, let's hear you.
I agree against the professor. Yes, you have done justice to our topic today. We thank you. My take is about the question you asked. Is our democracy under a threat? The answer is yes. Our democracy is under a threat, not under a threat. But we pray that God will help us. In a situation that the country, he was crying, begging Nigerians to help him in power, to make things easy for us. Today, he has turned things upside down in the country. And the most unfortunate thing is that his whole speech from the word go, he has said he has for everybody, he has for nobody. And he has clearly shown for us that he knows the people he belongs and the people he does not belong. And it's unfortunate. A leader must have compassion. A leader must take everybody together. I remember when late Metama Sule lead the Northern Elders to Buhari, they told him, do justice, justice, justice for us, justice for them, justice to every part of this country.
Okay.
And today, yes, we have lost that one.
All right, Job.
Yeah. And the issue of cattle ranch or the foot of the camps, in fact, it's very, very unfortunate that we have serious problem at hand at the bandit in Zamfara and other parts. But today he's talking of cow. Let me sympathize with him over the killings of cow in Nasarawa State. He is more concerned about
Job, we just got you on that. Again, Prof, Job was talking about justice, for all, and that we should say president for all. He had said that for nobody and for everybody. But again, Nigerians are questioning, how this is being played out.
I didn't get that. Please,
I was talking about Job was talking about justice for all. That we have a president who had come to tell us that it's for nobody, it's for everybody. But again, it's been questioned whether what we see by actions and words, is referring to all. Yes.
Well, so far that's what you can see. That it's more of words than actions. In any case, it's our fault if we believed him in the first place. A person appointed on the basis of a political party cannot claim that it's for nobody unless he didn't believe in his party. He was elected on a platform with a manifesto or supposed manifesto, which means it's already partisan. He already has an agenda, and that agenda has unfolded in the last 6 years very clearly, very explicitly. What we want is a Nigerian agenda now. After 5 years or so, maybe the president can begin to look more at Nigeria as one entity and not as sectionalized entities, in which some areas enjoy better benefits than others. The point is to develop a legacy that sees Nigeria as one, that tends to build up unity rather than disunity. What we are getting now is not good enough. I think there should be justice for all, as the man said, and it's not impossible to achieve.
We can still get out of all of this, Prof.
Yes, we can.
We can. I'd like to thank you, Professor Femi Otunbanjo, for coming on the program with us this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
All the best. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Well, that's about the size of it on Perspectives this morning. And still talking about Nigeria's democracy on the threat or the unity of the country on the threat. Professor Femi Otunbanjo there, a professor of political science, a long-distance call to Lagos, sharing thoughts with us. And, of course, all agreeing that we must, make Nigeria work. We must do all we can to keep Nigeria. Food for thought for all of us here. Job, thank you for connecting me with the people. Wisdom, thank you for putting us in the pictures. We'll come back with Perspectives tomorrow. Good morning.